In my video about not being a Pikachu main anymore, I mentioned potentially going back to the GameCube controller from the box controller that I have played for over 2 years now. And I kind of wanted to talk about why, the benefits I still think box has, and just wanted to mention that this is not going to be set in stone. I may decide at the end of all things to just play box with Mii Brawler anyway, so let's go. Firstly, I want to mention that my box style controller in and of itself has no issues. I really enjoy playing this thing. I think it is incredibly good, but also it was largely for Pikachu, and I kind of want to show you why. When it comes to my box style controller, I just want to go over my layout really quick, which I know I have before, but I want to show it for the purposes of this video. These are my normal direction buttons. Think of it like a keyboard. This is my Z button. This is special. This is attack. These are both jump. This is shield, and these are my C sticks. That means that this button, these 3 buttons, and these 4 buttons are basically all for quick attack specifically. Granted, they have other uses, but those are all angles, right? I probably would not switch these two because these this helps me do up angled forward tilts, and then holding both of them helps me do reverse down tilts and up tilts very easily with buffering them. But either way, regardless of that, this button, these 3, and this button are all specifically for quick attack angles. If I'm not playing Pikachu as often as I once was, then there's honestly no reason to have that many buttons be dead on this controller. Of course, I can switch them, but that would require me going back to my old Hitbox Smashbox, which is a bit heavier, and the reason I stopped using that one mostly was literally because it would hurt my shoulders over the course of an event because it is a heavy box style controller. The reason for this is while this will have an editor that you can edit all your buttons and all your values and stuff like that, currently it does not have that ability because it is still in production, and this is like they built this one specially for me in terms of copying basically what I had on my Smashbox editor, so I don't have the ability to change those buttons, so currently I would just have 6 or 7 dead buttons on this controller. And as mentioned, there are still plenty of things that are really good about box control. Again, I still consider it overall a better controller to use if you are just starting off and don't have a bunch of habits with GameCube to play box controller if you can afford it. I think they are fantastic, and I have 0 negative things to say about it in terms of the controller itself. Like, clearly, Mii Brawler on box has a lot of benefits. I mean, it's really easy to be precise on box. It is really easy to, get a lot of your stuff going. And I think most notably, as I'm just like grinding combos, it's really easy to do the burning drop kick B-reverse thing because, the way that using directions on the box works in terms of how basically it resolves holding both left and right or both up and down in specifically ultimate, which is very good. I'm also trying to do it a different way because I'm being weird, but it's a lot easier to do it on box than it is on GameCube. Literally in the tournament video I uploaded this morning as of recording, I was like, oh, it's a little bit of a struggle to do the B-reverse tech consistently since I haven't played as much on GameCube in several years, but it's something I will definitely be able to learn and get accustomed to again. But there's definitely a lot of inputs that are easier on box than GameCube, and of course there are still some things that are easier on GameCube. I just think like general, like walking or slow movement, that type of precision is easier because you don't have to hit another button. You can just kind of slowly adjust your thumb, and of course I have a bunch of experience with box, I have a bunch of experience with GameCube controller, so that makes a lot of sense. So again, I want to be very clear that me potentially switching off of box has nothing to do with the fact that box isn't a good style of controller. It is not the fact that I'm struggling specifically with inputs, that it's uncomfortable or anything like that. It is literally all a mental thing, which I will describe now. I feel like since picking up box, even though I have done a lot of good stuff in inputs, a lot of my nerves get the better of me, and for some reason it is harder to deal with that when I'm playing box, probably because I'm less comfortable doing it. I feel when I'm tilted, I'm more tilted in my arms, and I can't do anything about it. I feel if I'm playing bad, it's harder for me to jumpstart my inputs when I'm playing on box, and most notably, I feel like when I'm nervous, I just miss input a lot more. That happened a ton at Coinbox IRL this past weekend, where I was nervous against Jazzo, especially after I lost game 1, and my inputs just came out so bad, and then I had to compensate with doing a lot worse things, and of course, when you're trying to compensate for your nerves, things aren't going to go well, whereas I feel like on GameCube controller, I've played it for forever. I've won multiple majors with it. I've played the hardest opponents in the world, and I have still succeeded in spite of all that, regardless of how nervous I am, regardless of anything with GameCube controller. Of course, have I messed up and have the nerves gotten the better of me? Sure, but there's been plenty of times where that hasn't been the case. Not exactly sure what it is about it, but playing on box, it is harder for my brain to get over the fact that it is not exactly what I'm comfortable with, or that I've been as comfortable with for forever, because again, I am comfortable on box. I play on it a ton. There's obviously a ton of Pikachu specific benefits like the double up quick attack, and there's plenty of amazing stuff with basically every character. I think that box is a strict upgrade for most characters. It is even with some, and then I think there's maybe one that box isn't as good for, which is Min Min, just because she's super awkward. But for GameCube, for me specifically, of course, if you were to play controller, you can play Pro Controller, but GameCube is my controller of choice. I just feel like it is a lot easier for me, for my brain to connect with my hands and arms in a way that doesn't make me as nervous. It allows me to untilt faster, and that's really, really important when you get tilted in a tournament because of a matchup, or something goes wrong, or something happens that you didn't expect, and I'm able to calm down and still play the game at maximum efficiency, which I've had a lot of trouble doing with box. Of course, I've had some good tournaments with box. I've had some decent results. Of course, I think I have had worse results overall, but I don't feel like that is necessarily because of the fact that I picked up a new controller, because I'm still doing amazing stuff with it, but some parts of it are me getting nervous in weird situations, or getting hit by things I wouldn't ordinarily in a weird position, like me getting sung by Base Mage at Genesis this past year, because I, would be able to react a lot easier with GameCube just because that's what I'm used to, and I wouldn't be as freaking out about it. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments down below, and I will be active in this comment section with the questions. So I'm going to be, at the very least for a while, playing on GameCube controller again. I might switch back to box, because again, I do think it is very good for me, Brawler, because of the fact that I'm probably going to be using Burning Dropkick, and I do really enjoy it. I recommend, if you are to get a box style controller, it is amazing. They are super good, super fun, very satisfying, but I do think that I'm going to swap back for GameCube controller, at least for a couple months, and then I will make a decision when I'm comfortable on GameCube, and obviously I will still be comfortable on box in terms of inputs, but again, I just want to see if that mental factor is different, because maybe I'm just more nervous when I play now because I'm a lower rank and I want to prove myself and I want to win, and maybe that's part of it as opposed to my controller. But I just want to eliminate all of those things, especially considering I am picking up a new character, or dropping my main as my main, and I'm going to be playing me Brawler as my main character now. I want to just make sure I'm getting rid of as many variables as possible, and going back to GameCube controller for the time being, in my opinion, makes the most sense, because it is what I've been playing on for forever, as opposed to box, which has been a little over 2 years, maybe 2 years and 3 months or something like that. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope this makes sense. And yeah, as always, social media and partner stuff is down below in the description, and I will see you all next time. Peace.